Welcome, everyone, to the July monthly training. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, come up with your SHS program. Please feel free to type the questions you have in the chat box or the Q&A box. And Maggie is here today to help me field those questions and get them answered. And so while you're typing your questions, I did have something to start the training off with today. I wanted to talk a little bit about filtering for kingdoms. So let's get started with that. I'm going to open up my SHS program. Okay. So let's say you have a case and shock is a major theme in the case, and you think perhaps the person needs a plant remedy. And so you think to yourself, okay, the plant remedies that have shock as a major theme are Asteraceae, which has arnica, chamomilla, and Solanaceae, of course. Now, these shocks represent in different ways with those plant families, but they both do have the theme of shock. You can actually filter your repertory so that you're only looking at those two plant families. And let me show you how you would do that. You're here on the picture icon page. All your repertories are listed on the left. But if you come over here to this icon here, it looks like a little abacus. This icon you find throughout the program, and it's the filtering icon. And when you click it, this box pops up. And you can see you can filter for remedies. If you wanted to hone in on a specific remedy, you could do that. Authors, kingdoms, and grade. But we're going to focus right now if you wanted to look at those particular two plant families that I just mentioned. So I've got kingdom highlighted here, and I'm going to type in Asteraceae and look for that. And then I'm going to type in Solanaceae and look for that. All right. Now, if you can type more than two, you can just type one, you can type 10 or more. If you ever want to verify that you have everything that you intended to type and search for and filter for, you can X out of the type to search box and click on this little I within the filter box, view selected only, and it gives you the list of your selected filter items. So that's what I want to see, and I'm going to hit apply. And now this circle turned purple. You know the filter is in place when the purple circle appears. And so now any repertory I look in, any chapter of any repertory is going to be filtered for those two plant families. So let's go into the Mind chapter of the Reliable. And here you see that I'm only seeing the Solanaceae or the Asteraceae. And if you're not sure, if you're looking and you're saying to yourself, what is this one right here? I'm not sure about if that's which even family that's from. You can right click, get the menu options up. Now, right click on a Mac. I have to explain this pretty frequently. Mac users aren't used to right clicking. It's a control click. So hold down the control key as you click, and it will give you the menu options in the SHS program. So I'm going to come down here, view remedies family, choose that from the menu options. And now I see, okay, that remedy is an Asteraceae. All right, and so that's one way to filter. Another way to filter, and let's take that filter off by clicking the purple circle. Clicking the purple circle to remove that filter. Another way to filter is up here in global search. Let's say we want to search the word shock, and we want to use those two plant families. Again, I come over here, and that same icon you see, I'm using, but it's the global search filter icon. And I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go look for rubrics. So I have repertories selected up here at the very top. And I'm going to select Kingdom over here on the left of this pop-up window. I'm going to go find those very same plant families. Okay, and now I'm going to apply it, create that purple circle. And now I'm going to run this search that has shock filtered for those two plant families. So let's run that by hitting the search icon. You can also hit the return or the enter key on your keyboard to run the search. All right, and so here we are in the repertory tab, and that is where we filtered. And it came in on reliable repertory, and you can see the different types of shock in the mind chapter and which remedies come up. And it's a combination of those two plant families. You can see ailments from shock. You've got Arnica chamomilla from the Asteraceae family. You've got Hyos and Stramonium from the Solanaceae family. And so it's a good way to, hone in on plant families so that you can see the differences and the similarities. And of course, if you want to go past the mind chapter, you can look in any of these chapters because the filter applies to every single one of the chapters. Let's say I want to come down here to generalities chapter out of reliable. And here I can see the generalities chapter and shock in that with the two plant families. And then of course I can go to the complete repertory and do the very same thing. Sometimes the complete repertory rubrics are larger than the reliable repertory rubrics. And so sometimes people like to combine the two, one from the complete and one from the reliable. Now, let's say you're curious to know which remedies, which rubrics contain Asteraceae only remedies. There's a way to find that out. And they do not contain Solanaceae remedies. Okay, there is a way to find that out up in advanced search, and I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to take this filter off, come up here to advanced search, compare remedies. Now it says compare remedies, but you see here when you get here, select kingdom or remedy or kingdom. So you can select a kingdom here. And so I'm going to select Asteraceae. All right, and I'm also going to select the Solanaceae. So I've selected them both. And again, you can check to make sure you have them both by clearing the type to search window and clicking on the little I, view selected only. And I'm going to apply. Now, this is what happened. It popped up down here and it shows me the two families with all the remedies within them. And you can tell that this bottom slot here has the Solanaceae remedies because I see belladonna there, and Arnica is up here in the top slot. So those are the Asteraceae remedies, okay? So let's say we wanted to see all the rubrics that contain Asteraceae remedies and not any Solanaceae remedies. I'm going to turn this plus sign to a minus on the Solanaceae grouping. And okay, let's look in the reliable, all sections, match at least one. That doesn't really apply here. And the number of remedies in the rubrics, I'm going to say it can be any number. And I'm going to run this search. And now what I'm looking at is every single rubric that contains an Asteraceae remedy, and it does not contain a Solanaceae remedy. And so this is a good way to study the difference between the two. You can see that ailments from death of loved ones it only contains the Asteraceae remedies. no Solanaceae remedies. It's a really good way to study the differences. And of course, I'm only in the mind chapter, and I asked the program to search in all the sections. So, you can go into any of the chapters and see those rubrics that contain Asteraceae and not Solanaceae. And then you can do the opposite. You can come back up here to advanced search, compare remedies. And so they're back to both being pluses now. I want to turn off the Asteraceae. You can see the arnicas in this top group. That's the Asteraceae group. And I want to run this search where now I'm going to look for all the rubrics that contain Solanaceae, but not Asteraceae. And so I'm going to hit the plus sign because I want to keep that first search intact. And so I'm going to hit the plus sign so that a new tab will open up in global search and I won't lose that first search I did. So we're going to do this. And now I'm looking at all the rubrics that contain Solanaceae remedies and not any Asteraceae remedies. And again, it comes in by repertory, by chapter. You can look in any chapter. And you can look, and I asked for it to look in the reliable repertory, so you can look in any chapter of the reliable to get this information, this comparison information. You can, if you're done looking in the reliable repertory, you can come back and select a different repertory and do the very same thing again. So I hope I've made that clear. Maggie, has it generated any questions so far?
No, Lucy, just a question from me. What about also showing how you put, say, Solanaceae after the word shock there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that's another way. There's so many ways to do things in SHS. And, let me show you another way. So before I showed you how you can come over here, you're looking for rubrics. So you select repertories up here, and then you select whatever you want to down here, right? That was to find two plant remedies. Let's say you want to look at shock. You can hone in on Asteraceae regarding shock up here by typing the plant, the kingdom name, and finding it. And you want to find it where it says family in brackets next to the kingdom name. So find that, select it on the drop-down menu so that it turns that word blue. If it has turned the word blue, you know that your filter is placed. And now I can run this as well. And so this does the very same thing. This is a little less detailed than the advanced search. In the advanced search, you were looking at rubrics that had Asteraceae and absolutely they did not have the Solanaceae. Here you're seeing all the rubrics that contain Asteraceae without consideration of the Solanaceae. So that's another way to do that. I'm looking at the word shock. These are the Asteraceae remedies regarding shock in each chapter. And of course, when you do it this way, I didn't have to pick a repertory. It started on reliable because reliable is the top repertory on my repertory list, but I could come down here and go to the complete also. Every single repertory that has information on this search query is going to show up in global search when you do it up here in the global search window. So that, and then you can come up here and do the very same thing for shock using Solanaceae. So you search for that. You have to type the word, right? Here we are. Family is in brackets. I'm going to select that. I'm going to run it with the plus tab so that I'll keep my Asteraceae shock search query intact. I'm going to open this in a new tab by hitting the plus sign. All right, and so now I'm looking at all the Solanaceae remedies related to shock in all the repertories. And then, you know, if you find a rubric that you like, of course, you can take it to your clipboard. Let's find one. Let's say we want to take generalities, shocks to the clipboard. And so actually that opened up on a new clipboard because I didn't have this one activated, but it shows up like this. And I can right click to copy this rubric. You can also just highlight it and hit Command or Control C to copy a rubric from one clipboard and put it on another clipboard. So I'm going to open up this clipboard number 1 that has 5 other rubrics on it, click into the clipboard and right click to get the paste option, or I can hit Command or Control V, which is the keyboard shortcut for pasting. Either way works. And then that shows up. And so here we are in a clipboard. And, you know, you can also filter within the clipboard. This icon here, the one that again looks sort of like an abacus, that's the only way I know how to describe it. It's also found on your graph. And so here you have this clipboard with these rubrics on it. And, you know, you can see the various remedies that have come up high on this graph. But maybe you want to hone in on those 2 plant families again. Maybe you are thinking plant, and so you want to get away from the minerals. I mean, one thing you can do is come up here and generally click the plant icon. That gives you all the plants, but maybe you want to focus on those 2 plant families that have a very strong theme of shock. So I'm going to remove this filter, and I'm going to the general filter for plants, and I'm going to come over here to the icon again, kingdom, Asteraceae, okay, and Solanaceae. And I'm going to hit apply. And now I'm looking at those 2 plant families in this particular graph. Just those 2 plant families, not all the plants, but just those 2 families that are highly related to shock as a, you know, a large theme. Any questions?
Lucy, can you show how you can do it for a remedy? And also, it doesn't need to be just one word, as in shock. So, say, for example, dreams, flying, birds, to search in the bird kingdom.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't just have to stick to one word up here. You can certainly string a few words together, a few key words. So if you say dreams, flying, and then
Birds, birds, yeah.
you want to look for the birds family. Here it is right here, the second one down, birds family. And again, you see it turned blue, and I'm going to run this search. And now I came up with these are the 2 repertories that had information about the dreams and the flying. I'm in the reliable first, and you can see the result there. If you open up the complete repertory, it has all the dreams in the dreams chapter, not the mind chapter. And so here you can see all the bird remedies, all the bird remedies related to dreams of flying in either one of these repertories. All that's come up are bird remedies. And if you go to reference library, the beautiful thing about filtering up here and turning the word blue is that it will filter in both your repertories and your references. When you come over here and you're doing more complex filtering, you have to choose one or the other, repertories or reference library. But when you filter for one item up here in global search, it looks in both. So that means that you can go to your reference library tab, and it's filtered also for the birds, remedies, dreams of flying in the various books in your reference library.
And then, Lucy, to search just in a remedy. So if you were to put dreams of flying, say Falco P, instead of her,
Mhm.
you'll see.
Yes, you can absolutely do that. In which case, you would put the remedy name up here. And once you start it, that you don't have to type the whole thing, that drop-down menu will come up. And I see Falcon V. Here it is right here. And I'm selecting it. You saw in the brackets, it said remedy. So this time I'm looking for a remedy, not a family. So you look for that, the word that you're filtering for. And if it's a family, you look for family in brackets. If it's a remedy, you look for remedy in brackets. And I'll show you why that's important. First, let's go look for this. And certainly, yes, Falcon has dreams of flying in an airplane, making a flying machine. That's a single remedy rubric too. And when you come down to the complete, you can explore that result as well. Interesting. So the complete doesn't have that third one that the reliable does. If you're curious to know who added this to the repertory, you can double click to take it back to the repertory module. And in here, in the chapter where it is, you can turn on your authors and see who added that. And it looks like it was, let's see, I can't see because the Zoom bar is in the way. Maggie, can you read that from the...
NOMI?
Yeah, can you read what it is at the bottom on the status bar? Let me move the Zoom window. You should be able to see it on the Zoom
No, I don't see it.
status bar.
Fine.
No.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Well, if it's not showing up there, then you can always come up here to help and go to author abbreviations under help and go look for NOMI. Let's go search that. I'm clicking on my search signal and symbol NOMI. And it looks like it's Misha Norland. Okay. That solved that mystery. I'm not sure why the complete doesn't have it too, but not all the repertories, they all have slight differences, certainly. So, okay. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. So for instance, if we were to type Solanaceae up here and go and not choose the family, but go choose the remedy, it actually kind of takes you into this sensation repertory. Well, I'd have to go back to shock. I don't think the Solanaceae actually have dreams of flying. And you can see, so it comes out of the sensation repertory when you choose this as a remedy instead of a family. So just be aware, make sure you choose the right drop-down choice. If it's a family you're looking for, choose family. And if it's a remedy you're looking for, choose remedy. Any questions on anything? It doesn't have to be on this. If you have any questions at all that you've been wondering.
While you're there, in the results of your searches, in particular in the reference library, maybe show how you can put those into the clipboard.
Oh yeah, of course. And so let's go back to the one that's here. And so let's say, we want to use this first rubric here from the complete repertory, the mind chapter. Ailments from emotional upset, being stunned. We want that to go to clipboard number 1, which is the active clipboard. You just highlight it and hit return or enter on your keyboard. and it places that on the clipboard as well. See, it came to the bottom. Let's say you want to put this rubric up with the other mind rubrics. You can replace, you can move these rubrics around. You just click, hold, and drag them to rearrange them. Maggie, can you think of any other way to show the kingdom filtering? I think I covered all the ways.
I think that's it.
Okay, now, does anybody have any questions on anything? And it doesn't matter what the question is. If you're a new person with SHS, please ask the question. Don't be shy.
Okay, Frank has a question to say, could we explain the difference between the complete repertory, say, and the reliable repertory?
Sure, yes. So the reliable repertory was released when SHS was released, which is in 2020. The complete repertory has been around a lot longer than that, like over 20 years. And a new version of the complete repertory comes out every year. And Roger Van Zandvoort, who creates the complete repertory, gathers new information from authors, and adds to his repertory every year. Some people think that sometimes the rubrics seem somewhat bloated, which makes it hard to find the right remedy, sometimes because they grow every year. And so what the reliable people did, the people that sponsored the reliable, is they searched all the rubrics and they tried to remove any remedy that wasn't source verified, like in a kind of a classical way. And they removed some of those remedies from the rubrics. Now, some people really want to see every single remedy, and so they want that complete because they want every single option. And some people maybe want just to see the remedies that were placed in the rubrics in a more classical style. So those are the differences. And, it's good to compare the two. And so it's good sometimes to just, decide which way you want to go. And so
Actually,
I use them both because it's nice to compare the two of them. So
yes. And there is a question actually about combining, searching for something and then combining rubrics. So sometimes, yes, I would take a rubric from the complete rep and then take the same rubric from the reliable repertory and combine the two so that I'm sure that I'm covering everything.
yes,
It's different in terms of the results.
exactly. You don't want to miss the remedy by, too much editing out. So it gives you all the choices when you combine from both remedies. From both repertories.
Can you show how to combine, Lucy?
I can do that, certainly. So here we have mind ailments from shock. Let's go find that very same, because I want to show you what we're talking about. I'm going to go find this very same rubric in the complete. So I'll go over to repertory module. I'll go to my complete repertory and go into the mind section. And I'm going to type on my keyboard SHOC to get down to shock. And here it is, right? And to take that to my clipboard, I'm going to hit return on my keyboard. Oh, do I already have that in the clip? Did I already bring that over? Oh, maybe I did. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I did. It was the top one, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top rubric and I'm going to highlight that second rubric by holding down the command or the control key. If you're on Mac, it's command key. If you're on Windows, it's control key. So I'm going to highlight these two. And again, you have to hold down the command or control key to highlight more than one. Now, I'm going to see this folder here. It says make group when I hover my mouse on it. I click there and this window comes up. There's also a keyboard shortcut. If you don't want to come up there and click the folder, you can, on your keyboard, just hit the plus sign and this window comes up as well. And I'm going to say shock. You can name it whatever you want, but shock aggravates. hit OK. Now you can see that on the graph side, my combined rubric is what's showing. You see, and there's 78 remedies in this rubric now. Over here on the clipboard side, the left side, it shows you the new rubric name and the rubrics that are inside that combined rubric. And so 66 remedies were in the complete rubric, 48 remedies were in the reliable rubric. And when you put those two together, 78 remedies. So it is a good way to make sure you're not missing any remedies when you put the two together.
Hasnat is asking if you could repeat how to do the earlier search that you did.
Oh, which one? Because I did so many.
I think it's basically just a repeat again of the searching for something within a particular kingdom, remedy, just maybe.
Sure. So this type of search window up here is global search. And at any time, you can come up here and use this window. I have the clipboard open still, but you don't have to close windows to get to your global search. You can just go straight to it. We had typed dreams of flying. Let's do dreams of animals this time. And let's say we want to understand which remedies in the Solanaceae family have dreams of animals. So I'm going to type Solanaceae, and you don't have to type the whole thing. Once you start typing, this drop-down menu appears. It appears anytime you type in this global search window, but really the only time I use it is when I am filtering. So I'm going to see for the Solanaceae family, I see that's this top choice here. And in order to see that Solanaceae has turned blue, I just kind of click outside of that highlighted area that came up after I used the drop-down menu. And I see that it is blue, my filter is in place. And then you activate this global search by hitting return or enter on your keyboard. You can also come over here and click this. If you want your search to be in a new tab and retain old tabs that you've used for searching, you can open this in a new tab. But we're going to do this. And now your result, you see, comes up. Every single repertory that has a result from your search is on the left side, and you can choose any one of these repertories to look at. It comes up on reliable first for me because the reliable repertory is the first one. The result comes in the same order that you've listed your repertories here in repertory module. If I had the complete at the top, then the complete would always come up first in my search queries. So you can kind of, whatever your favorite book is, you can make sure that that's the first book that shows a result in your search query by ordering them in a certain way. And I can show you that. But it comes in on reliable first. Here we have dreams of animals and all the Solanaceae remedies only, because we filtered for that. Because you can see that dreams of animals, there's 156 remedies within that rubric, and 3 of those are Solanaceae remedies. So that's how you do that. Now, if you did want the complete at the top of your list, you can come up here to user preferences, go to repertory settings, and I can X out of the complete, X out of the reliable here. Excuse me. Now the complete is the first book in my list, and I'm going to hit save, and it reloads your SHS program. And if you had clipboards open, it will ask you, hey, do you want to restore those? Yes, I do. Okay. And then you come back here, and now the complete repertory is the first one in my list. So let's say you wanted to do fear of animals. And now you see that the search result, The Complete is the first book that comes up, but The Reliable is still there. It never goes down very far it never goes very far down the list. Any other questions?
Lucy, Donna is asking, do all 156 remedies come up if you are not in a filter?
Of course. Yes, they do. You can see here, I did filter animals without, excuse me, I did fear of animals with no filter. And you can see all 162 remedies came up in my search result. Of course, it says show more, so you'd have to click that to see all of them. Now you can see them all. But if I had filtered for whatever, only those remedies would have come up showing, as long as you had that filter on.
Lucy, you mentioned a moment ago about having multiple windows open, and sometimes perhaps it can be a little busy. Can you show how to change the color of the Materia Medica window so that it kind of like pops out?
Sure. So if you're over here and gosh, I haven't done this for a while.
You just go to the eye icon.
Oh, that's it. Yes. Okay. So I'm in Materia Medica and I come over here to the eye within the eye icon always represents a change of how something looks. And so here in reference library, I click on that and let's say I wanted it to be purple, the background. I wanted it to be purple so that that window stood out and I knew that that was the window that had all my references. I can select that, hit apply, and now I know that this is my reference library window very, very easily. You can also change the font size over here, you see, and it's on 0 right now, but I can make it a little bigger. Actually, that made it like that. If you're having trouble reading, you can always make it bigger. Just keep clicking on that plus sign for it to get bigger and bigger and hit apply there. And now any remedy you look at will have that same size of font. I believe same with the books. Come in here. So as long as you have it selected on the high number, you're going to get the larger font. Other questions?
Not at the moment.
Oh, I'll show you the eye icon in the other modules. So I showed it to you in the reference library. If you come over here to repertory module, here's this eye icon. And if you click it, you can choose to see, no remedies. Some people like to only see their rubrics and they don't like to see the screen cluttered up with remedies because they just want to see as many rubrics as possible. And when you add the remedies in, you see fewer rubrics. So if we choose this and hit OK, now whenever we go into a chapter, we're only going to see the rubrics. Now, if you want to see the remedies, if you're curious, you can hold down the space bar and see them that way. There's also a keyboard shortcut. Let's go there. Keyboard shortcuts are found under help. And if you do the space bar, it tells you here, do the space bar. That shows the remedies for 5 seconds, or pretty much as long as you hold it down, they'll show. There's also a command, I'm trying to remember what it is. Yes, shift space to show or hide remedies. So let's do that. I'm here in the head chapter, and I'm going to hit shift space. Oops. And then that's supposed to keep it on, and then when you do it again, it takes it off. So if you want them longer to show. Now that's only in the head chapter. So when I go back to the main page and I go to a different chapter, again, I'm in a different chapter, you are back to that view that you chose of no remedies. So anytime you make a change in a chapter, it's temporary for that chapter. Let's see what else is under the eye here. You can choose to look at certain grades. If you only want to see high grades, 4 and 5, you can untick 1, 2, and 3. You know, you can look at whatever grades you want. You can turn on sub-rubrics if you prefer that view, but I recommend keeping your sub-rubrics out of sight so that you can navigate to them. For instance, if you're in a chapter here, any rubric that has a plus sign next to it means it has sub-rubrics, and you can go into those sub-rubrics simply by either clicking on that rubric so that see external popped up here to the breadcrumb string, and now I'm looking at the sub-rubrics under external, or you can use the directional arrows on your keyboard. So now I want to go look at the sub-rubrics under right, and I'm going to hit the right directional arrow. It gives me what the sub-rubric was under right. Right popped up here to the breadcrumb string. And then if I want to go backwards one step at a time, I'm hitting the left directional arrow on my keyboard. Left F, I hit the left arrow again, I hit the left arrow again. So that is the way you navigate sub-rubrics. If you do want to turn them on, it's not as easy to navigate. So you see them, you see there are no plus signs now, but it's a little harder to navigate to jump from, for instance, alternating states down to pain. Might be a little bit more difficult if you have all the sub-rubrics on. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then, of course, if you're somebody who wants to know what your authors are for every single remedy and every single rubric, you can turn those on. And let's do that. I'll show you. Go into a chapter. And of course, if you do this, you have to really turn on your remedies as well. I'm holding down the space bar right now to see them in this particular eye chapter. And if you hover your mouse, sorry, I'm moving the zoom bar. So that's how you do that. And I prefer to keep them turned off and turn them on only as needed. Cross references is another thing. A lot of people love the cross references. If you have those turned on, it gives you ideas about where to go if you're not finding the rubric that you need. So let's go into a chapter, for instance. Let's say you wanted to go find, you know, they really come in handy when you don't have any sub-rubrics defined. So for instance, this rubric beating, there is no remedy in this rubric. It's a 0 count rubric. It also has no sub-rubrics. There's no plus sign next to it. However, the program with the cross references is suggesting to you that you go to head pulsation. That's what you want instead of beating. And it has 348 remedies in it. So that's what you would go to. Select that and take that to your clipboard. So the cross references are very, very useful in that way. All right, that's the eye in the repertory module. There's also an eye in the clipboard right here. If you're somebody who wants to see remedies in your clipboard or authors, or not, you can make some adjustments here in your clipboard. I prefer no remedies because the clipboard is somewhat small. And if I want to go see the remedies, either see them on the graph or go back to the repertory module to see them. That way you can see more rubrics in your clipboard. I believe those are all the eye icons in the program. Maggie, are there any more questions?
Karen wants to know, will you show the command for Mac for highlighting?
Mhm. So let me get a clipboard open that's got more. So if you've got this highlighted, let's say you want to combine eyes left inflammation and eyes left. Let's say you want to put those two together. I've clicked on it. Now, if I want to choose a second rubric here in the clipboard, I'm going to hold down the command key as I click that second rubric. That's how you do it. To select more than one rubric, hold down the command key if you're on a Mac to click to select it. Windows, you hold down the control key.
There's a question here, Lucy, about the next version of SHS.
Mhm.
And Suzanne is wondering when that would be available, the next update.
Yes, well, we do. We're in the process of testing and a somewhat small update. It's going to have bug fixes and it's going to have a few enhancements. It's going to be 1.4. We're again in the process of testing that. Hopefully it will be released maybe in 2-3 weeks. We don't know for sure because with testing, we never know really. And so a few enhancements that are coming up in that are, for instance, if you're in the graph here and you want to jump to the reference library to explore every single one of these remedies in the graph, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to take all these remedies in your graph to a Word document. Just the text of them, not the graph, but just the remedies themselves. And there's going to be something over here about grading rubrics and having that change the graph. So those are the enhancements that I can think of right now. And again, like I said, a lot of some bug fixes, some
Yeah, Suzanne is
refined.
about
What's that?
patient management and
Patient management. Yeah, they're gonna, I think, refine the printing. What else, Maggie, was it?
just the saving of patient charts can be a bit
I
glitchy.
So look for that, I'd say in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're in the process of testing that. So I'm hopeful it will be out by then. But we are, this is a small upgrade comparatively, because we are also working on a much larger SHS upgrade, rebrand, a little bit of a rebranding, but I won't go too far into that. That's hopefully coming in the fall or maybe early winter.
Eleni is asking, could you show the combining of rubrics again, please?
Sure. So I'll stick with this clipboard and let's say we want to combine these bottom two, inflammation left and inflammation in the morning. I've highlighted one, I'm on a Mac, so I'm holding down the command key to highlight the second one that I want to. You can combine 2 rubrics, 3 rubrics, as many as you want. Doesn't have to be just 2. So you just select what you want to combine, again, by holding down the command or the control key to select more than one. And then I'm going to I can come up here to this folder and click on make group. That brings that little window up where you name your combined rubric. I can also on my keyboard just hit the plus sign and that brings the same window up. You name it, whatever you want it to be named, hit OK. And now you can see it showed up on the graph as the name you gave it. It shows up on the clipboard side with the name you gave it, and then all of the rubrics underneath that you've put into that combined rubric. And so, for instance, here, if you had put these, if you didn't have these together, you have 2 separate rubrics, one with 50, one with 32 remedies. And interesting. The reason this number is lower, I think, is because there was so much overlap.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a good way to have that symptom in your clipboard be weighed, evenly. If you've got several rubrics that represents the same idea, if you put them together, then that idea is weighed the same as another idea that only has one rubric in the clipboard.
Can you show Lucy, if you decide you want to bring another rubric there into the group, or if you want to
Yes.
take a rubric out of the group, or you want to ungroup?
Sure. Yes, simply you can ungroup if you, again, hover and right click. You can ungroup. If I wanted to bring eyes left into the group, I can just click on this rubric here in the clipboard and drag it in. I think so. Oh, oh, no, sorry. That was not what I should have done. Highlight this, also highlight the combined rubric, and now you hit, you,
You should drag and drop a rubric into the group.
it wasn't dragging for me. Does it work for you that way, Maggie? Okay. Well, try dragging it in. If that's not working, you can highlight both and hit the plus sign on your keyboard again, or the little folder, and it'll go in that way. You can see now I have 3 rubrics in this combined rubric. But do try dragging. I don't know why that wasn't working for me. And if you want it, let's try taking it out. I'm going to try to drag it out. So I'm highlighting this. I'm going to drag it out. Maggie, maybe you need to show your program. Dragging it out. Okay. It worked that time. I just try it a few times and it should work. I was being impatient, so I'm trying to drag this in here. There. Okay, it does work. Any other questions? Got about 7 more minutes. No questions, Maggie?
Um, Chris is asking about shock and situations and where shock would ameliorate.
Well, you can always search for that up here in global search.
Yeah, there is. If you search shock ameliorate, there are results.
So I did shock ameliorate, hit return to activate this, and you get your result. And again, it came in on the complete first because I had rearranged my repertories in user preferences. And you can come in on the head chapter or look at any of these chapters, go down to generality. Shocks ameliorate, electric shocks ameliorate, and look at the reliable result just by clicking on that. So yeah, you can search for anything up here in global search, anything. Just use the keywords. Avoid small words, don't try to type an entire rubric up there. Just pick 2, maybe 3 keywords or 1.
Thanks,
Any
Lucy.
other questions?
No.
Okay. Well, I think we'll end there today. Thanks so much for joining. I really appreciate everyone coming, and I hope you got something out of today's training. The next training will be with Rupali on August the 2nd. So we hope to see you there as well. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Lucy. Bye.
Bye-bye.